Good day, everyone. Happy to meet you all in Leaders Talk program. YB Gobind Singh Dio, the Minister of Digital, is with us today. Let's meet him. Pleasure to meet you, YB.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
Congratulations for completing 1 year in Ministry of Digital. How was your experience? How was the challenges for the past 1 year?
It has been an incredible journey. We started off on the 12th of December last year. We started off without a ministry. That's why I describe it as being a startup ministry.
Yeah.
We have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I remember the Prime Minister had spoken to me and explained to me the importance of building a ministry that just looked into digitalization, digital transformation, and his vision ahead about what needed to be done, and the fact that we needed to move so much faster so that we could keep up with the rest of the world and prepare our country for digital transformation and the challenges ahead. So it was a big decision. It's a decision about how you can start the whole ministry up. I spoke to my Secretary General, Anthony Lok. He expressed to me also the need for us to seriously consider this as being an important mission, and we decided to do this. So in essence, what we have today is after 12 months, we have built a ministry. There are 7 agencies and departments in our ministry. We have Jabatan Digital Negara, that was formerly known as MAMPU. It's the biggest agency, the biggest group in my ministry. Then we've got MDEC. MDEC, as you know, they reach out to different sectors, helping empower communities in terms of digitalization and digital initiatives. Then you have got DNB. DNB is basically looking at how they can provide connectivity to people across the country. And then subsequently you have agencies that deal with cybersecurity, which is CSM. You have got Jabatan Pelindungan Data Pribadi, and those 2 organizations look at security. Then you have got MINIC that deals with domains. And you have got, after that, My Digital Corporation. My Digital Corporation is it's a secretariat that looks into new areas that we need to capitalize on so that we can build a structure that prepares us for the digital future. So I think in terms of that, if we look at the agencies, there was a need for me at the very beginning to sit together with them and see how it is we can actually formulate policies. So it was about building a physical office. Literally, we didn't even have an office, so it was about finding an office, furnishing it, and then looking at a group of people that would come in and help us build it. At first, it seemed almost impossible because it's not easy. But I would like to thank everyone who helped. Tan Sri KSN at that point in time, Tan Sri Zuki, very helpful. My first KSU, Dr. Rozi, he was the Kota Pengarah of Mampu at that time, welcomed us with open arms and sat together with me all the way, helping me build the ministry. Now I have a new KSU, we've built a team around us, and so then it was about looking at policies. I mean, what does digitalization require? And how are we going to build a structure that not just exists today, but something that is going to be able to sustain over the next 20 years? And at the same time, talk to us about what Malaysia needs so that we are prepared for future tech, So it's a question of how do we prepare our country for digitalization? We have to look at what we call government, digitalizing government. You have to look at digitalizing industries. You have to look at digitalizing society. So it's across what we call all ministries. So that was a challenge. And I think ultimately it came back to us recognizing that there were 3 key pillars that we needed to focus on. The first was infrastructure. You see, in 2018, when I was Minister of Communications and Multimedia, at that point in time, the world was looking at connectivity. It was about 4G and 5G. So when I became Minister of Communications and Multimedia at that time, I think the focus was on how it is we can make sure that we were able to provide each and every Malaysian with connectivity. Because we knew that if you had access to information, then it changed everything. It empowered you. Instead of us taking every single Malaysia out to the global world, we could bring the global stage to them. So it was about putting a device in your hand that empowered you. So at that point in time, I pushed the telcos, and I must say that they were very cooperative. They understood. I said to them, look, you need to think about how you can reduce prices, how you can increase quality, increase speeds, and make sure that we are able to deliver this service to everyone. Whether they are in the cities, whether they are in the outskirts of the cities, whether they are in the rural areas, we need to start thinking about this. No one can be left behind.
So it's more of a breaking the mindset of certain stakeholders.
That's right. So even they had to come on board. And of course, I think at the initial stages, even they were a bit concerned. I mean, are we really going to do this? But I said we must.
Making them to believe that it's going to happen.
It was a question of, recognizing the fact that this was real. There was a need for us to think about it very seriously, and that I was there and I was prepared to do whatever was necessary to make it work. But I needed their cooperation, their help. Yeah. And after a while, they said, okay, let's do this. So I think within the first 3 months, we were able to launch the Double the Speed, Half the Price initiative, which means that we wanted to bring prices down by half, increase speeds by twice, and of course, scale it around the country. So in 2019, in the budget, we focused on this, and at that point in time, it was called the NFCP, so the National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan. And there was an amount of 21.6 billion that was set aside for the purposes of us building towers all over the country. And of course, in that context, bringing connectivity to all. Now that was 2018. In 2018, we spoke about connectivity, we understood the impact of information and how it would transform everything, change the way we work, change the way we live, and change the way we are governed. We recognize the impact of data. So in 2018, 2019, with the discussions with the AWS, Microsoft, Google, that already started. Because we were thinking ahead. How do we actually build Malaysia as a hub as a data hub in this region? And we see after 5 years, slightly more, that it's now what we call taking shape. In the last 8 months, we've seen huge decisions to invest here in Malaysia in very large amounts of money. It's because we have got these companies that understand that Malaysia is located in the right place at the right time, and it has the right resources to support data hubs. So we've been able to convince them. Now they're coming in. Just like that, which happened 5 years ago, we now need to think about what is going to happen next. And things are going to move a lot faster. If you had 4G, 5G, today we have 98% coverage for 4G, 82% coverage 5G, 8 million households that have connectivity, right? And we need to start thinking about how it is we can move beyond that. We must make sure that connectivity expands. But we look now at next generation technology. Today is about AI. Today is about Gen AI, and how this technology is going to impact everything in our lives in the years to come. So how do you build a country that's AI ready? What does that mean? You need to understand that first you need to have compute power. In order to have compute power, there must be what you call policies in place that allows data centers to operate. You must make sure that you have enough energy. That's right. The ecosystem consists of policies that ensure that there is a thought process about energy supply, water supply. Subsequently, you must also make sure that the states that have control and jurisdiction over land applications, they are able to fast track the applications so that these companies can come in and build the centers quickly. And then subsequently, you must ask yourself how these data centers are going to contribute, the ecosystem is going to contribute to the domestic economy. So a lot of people will say, look, if you build a data center, there's not many jobs because you don't see many people there. But that's true, but the value of it is not in the building itself, but the value in it is in the businesses that it creates, businesses that will now depend on AI, and of course see a much greater level of productivity. So that was the question of infrastructure. We need to start thinking about that. Then you have to ask yourself what needs to be done next. So you have infrastructure, but you want people to use the infrastructure.
So end of the day, the rakyat must feel that they are benefiting something.
They must feel they're benefiting, but they also want to make. They also, people are always reluctant because it's new technology. So you must tell them that it's safe. Yeah. We read about scams. Yeah, we read about cyber attacks. And a lot of this is real. People have
leakage of data,
data leakage and what have you not. So people ask that question, and I think it's a genuine question. I ask that question as well. I mean, if I'm going to use a platform, am I sure it's safe? And today there are so many platforms, and these platforms do all sorts of things. A few days ago, I was able to, nowadays there are platforms that allow you to use text and create songs. You can use text and it creates videos. So you want to know, okay, that's very exciting. I want to use it, but is the platform safe? So you must be able to now also build trust in the system.
So how do you find the balance, YB? Because at one end we see the benefit of it is really a lot, but at the same time we have these kind of threats.
Correct.
Even we have now deep fake videos
Sure.
and so on. So how do you find balance over here? Because your ministry is supposed to drive the digitalization,
Yes.
but at the same time we have these kind of threats.
Yes.
So you have to find a balance. Is that a big challenge for you?
It is a challenge, but it's something that we can deal with, you see. We have a choice. We can say, look, because there are risks, we don't want to get involved. But I don't think that's an option. If you don't get involved, others who get involved will be far ahead than us. And we may find ourselves in a situation where the gap is too big and we're not able to catch up. So I don't think it's an option. We cannot say we don't want to get involved. We must acknowledge
something
the
like
fact.
internet.
Yeah, we must acknowledge that it is happening.
Yeah.
And it's better for us to understand it, take part in it, so that we can build structures around it that ensures that we are safe. So that's the reason why we moved Parliament in March. Cybersecurity bill came in. The cybersecurity bill is basically about ensuring that that agencies or companies that hold critical information infrastructure, they have within themselves cybersecurity systems that are on par with global requirements. So when we look at the big companies, I'll give you an example, TNB for example. Right? If something happens to TNB and we are out of electricity for 1 or 2 days, that's going to create a lot of problem. So we want to make sure that it's safe. And of course, there are other, companies that we look at as well. Of course, when you ask them, they will say that they already have cybersecurity systems in place. And they are right, because I've learned, we sometimes look to them and they give us advice as well, because they have taken all those steps. But what we want to do is make sure that we have a piece of legislation that requires or mandates all these kind of companies which we identify to comply with certain basic standards. And of course those standards we come up with. So it's basically a collective effort. Government joins hands with the industry and we say, okay, look, come, let's all put it together and say, okay, what do we define as being a standard that's acceptable to all? And
so the ministry taking any measure to educate the public?
Yes, I'll come to that. Now so then we get them to understand that they need to implement. If they don't implement, then of course there are consequences that follow. So the act was passed, and now we are currently coming up with the the regulations and implementing them stage by stage. Then you got the second part. The second part deals with data. Like you say, once a data breach and things like that, then suddenly you have people calling you up and scams that are going on. Also, the question is, how do you ensure that we strengthen rules? People who have possession of your data, they need to understand that there are laws that require them to take steps to ensure that it's safe and it's handled well. And if there is a breach, then there will be a probe and investigations and action taken. Because you need to develop confidence. So in June, we amended the Personal Data Protection Act, strengthened it, and more importantly, in last week, we went ahead and tabled the data sharing bill. In the data sharing bill, also there are requirements that focus on safety. So coming back to what I was saying earlier, you build a platform, then you want to ask people, please use the platform because it's going to empower you. But there are also risks. So what we do is, apart from speaking about policies generally, we have actually implemented them and we have legislated. So it shows that the government is serious. It shows that my ministry is very focused on making, on building an ecosystem that you can trust and that you can use. So if you ask me whether it's 100% what you call secure, I don't think anybody will be able to say that. But we are taking steps to make it as secure as we possibly can. And as we go along, we will improve. But it comes back to what you were saying earlier. You have the most extensive infrastructure in the world, the most secure, but no one wants to use or nobody knows how to use. Then it's of no benefit, you see. That's why
the worst part is they wrongly use.
All wrongly use. So you need to make sure that they're educated so that we are able to build talent that will allow them to, number one, awareness is key, then talent as to how to use that technology to improve on your business, improve on your daily lives, improve on whatever it is you do. And at the same time, appreciate that there are risks and areas that you'll be a bit concerned about. So this is the general 3 pillars that the ministry has been focused on. So in December and January last year to February, we were just focused on building a structure. And then, of course, building an office as well. Because, office, you can't build a structure. And then after that, coming out with the policies. Then it was straight away moving ahead and getting it done. So you build an office, you build the policies, you can't stop there. You got to implement. So I traveled a lot. I went to different parts of the world. Prime Ministers travel extensively because he's going around the world looking at what other countries have done, how they've prepared their country, their people. I do the same thing, but in a different way, because we go and look at what others have done, how it is we can learn from their experiences so that we can build and grow a lot faster. At the same time, we find that there's a lot of collaboration. So, even other countries ask you, okay, look, what are your thoughts, ASEAN, for example, is crucial. We chair ASEAN next year.
Yeah, next year,
Next year is in 2 weeks' time, and at the end of the day, it's a platform for us to do so much. We can start talking about this journey that we can, undertake together as a region. And I think if you look at it from a regional perspective, Malaysia has got 33 million people. ASEAN has got 690 million people. Right? And it is located in a place that provides us with the opportunity to become an economic powerhouse here. So it's big. It's big. So the question is, can we now talk about working together and facilitating that? So my ministry has been looking at all this, and of course different sectors that I think we need to empower. And it's been a very long year, but I think on the 12th of December, we launched a National AI Office. Just so happened that the date the Prime Minister gave us was exactly 1 year of of the ministry. I think it was a good event, but it's just the beginning. The office has got a lot of work to do. The office has to now think about what.
So what is the main purpose of this office?
Right. As I told you earlier, when we came into the ministry, the first thing we did was we looked at the broader sectors. We had government, society, industry. Then we have the 3 key pillars, which is ICT, the infrastructure, cybersecurity, and talent. Now we look at it from a future tech perspective, which means that we understand that the main focus is going to be AI and Gen AI. We need to understand how it's going to change everything. Different sectors will have different challenges, different requirements. Certain areas we need to give priority, certain areas can take a bit more time. Certain areas we may need to govern in the sense of legislation. We might need to go to Parliament to get law to say, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. For example, areas that will have an impact on national security. We have to think of the security of a nation as well. Some areas you don't need to have governance. Some areas, yes, there's technology in it, but it doesn't pose a risk. So those areas we may not have to worry about legislation, because legislation takes time, but we can move straight away by creating standards. So like you have the ISO and things like that, right? So we want to create standards to make sure that whatever is being built complies with certain basic guidelines, So the National AI Office is about looking at governance. The National AI Office then is about looking about, okay, what kind of technology do you need to make sure that you can succeed with AI? So we need now to look at investments, bringing in the AI investment, not digital investments alone, AI investments. So if the AI ecosystem is going to be built in a certain way over the next 5 years, we need to make sure that we already have in mind what kind of industries that we need to build locally, what kind of talent we need to build locally. Also, if we need to get help from overseas, we have to start looking at that now. So there's a second part about investments. Number 3 is innovation. AI office has to look at how it is we can empower our own businesses, build innovation here in Malaysia, while at the same time collaborating with countries around us. So we want to accept the fact that there's other countries that move further ahead. But we also recognize the fact that there's so much talent and capability here in Malaysia. We've got so many companies that have got global, recognition, with drones, for example. And I think this is something that we need to capitalize on.
So how do you think our youth should make use of these opportunities, especially Indian youths?
That's a fantastic question, and this is the reason why we have got agencies that have programs that we want to use to reach out to all sectors, right? So we want to empower people. Technology is something that is interesting, and in the last 6 months I have been going around and having events and explaining to people, and you see that there's so many associations, different communities, all interested alike. The question now is, how do we actually say to them that we are here to help you. We are here to say to you that technology is going to change things. We want to encourage you to use technology. So there needs to be this whole step taken to create awareness. They need to know what technology can do. They need to understand that they have to start taking steps to adopt the technology. And they also need to know that the government is here to encourage them. So we have programs that we are putting in place for everyone. And that to me is empowerment. Because if you are able to do that, then we are able to build entrepreneurs. And once you build entrepreneurs, then you're going to build an ecosystem full of entrepreneurs that are going to be able to help each other, and you're going to start building stronger generations as you go along. And that to me is, I think, the focal point. How do we empower people so that we move to a new mindset where we believe that we are also people that can take part in this new digital economy and we can succeed. So MDEC, for example, MDEC has the Euan Initiative. And I said to them, it's a fantastic initiative. We have now repackaged it so that we are focused on what we want to do. Different sectors will require different kind of help. I'll give you an example, Mitra. When I was MP in 2022 to 2023, we used Mitra funds to help various sectors. And I remember one of the things that I focused on was giving seed funding. That means helping people to start businesses. Some succeeded, some didn't. That's fine. We're okay. But those that succeeded, they came back subsequently and they said, okay, look, how do we now help others? You see, so we create that society that now believes that if you can empower everyone around you, then you have everything to gain from it. Because a strong economy is something that helps us all. And then it builds us regionally and also globally. So from there we realized that, and I give everyone this example of how it is we helped this particular group that wanted to start up a catering business. And 6 months later, they were at an event and I was talking to them, and then they were catering food there as well. And they said, no, as far as we're concerned, we want to help, so tell us what to do. So I have seen so many initiatives by the Indian community here in Malaysia. Look, there's so many of us that are so capable. I have so much confidence that we can succeed. We just need to get the right thinking and of course the right approach, and also encouragement to see it through. So this is why, to me, digitalization is something that is phenomenal in the sense that it is going to have an impact on everyone. And I want to see how it is we can empower schools. We can empower community centers around temples, for example. We have so many temples that do community events, and they have come to see me and say, look, sir, can we also have a program where we empower people there, and do programs? I said, it doesn't matter, let's do that, as long as it's an area, a center that attracts people, and then we can say to them, this is what you need to do, give them the help that they need, and then they're on their way, and we see them succeed. I think that to me that is what we need to do. But we need to start with accepting and acknowledge the fact that maybe the ministry we have to set it up first. It has to be strong, it has to be very clear in its objectives, what we want to achieve, And then from there, once you have everything in place, after 1 year, I can say that we are ready for it. Next year is about implementation, reaching out, getting people to come on board, work with us, build with us, and succeed with us. So it can be done, you know.
So what is the risk that you are seeing if Malaysia doesn't adopt this AI landscape?
You have used ChatGPT, I'm sure. Okay. ChatGPT is something that everyone talks about, and it's something that has captured the imagination of the world. But at the same time, a lot of people who talk about it haven't used it. Now, the moment you use it, you realize how powerful it is. I give you an example. My latest TikTok is on this. It's about a recipe. So you want to cook something, you just type it in, and within seconds, it's there. The ingredients and how you actually cook it, and it's done. In the past, the idea would come, I want to cook this. Then it will take you a few days to go and find the recipes and understand what to do, and then talk to somebody of how, even if you have the ingredients, how do you cook it, It takes time. Now, having said that, right, you've got two groups of people. One that use ChatGPT, they type in what they need to know, and immediately they get the answer, and they use it. And then after that, they use a digital platform to market it and to sell it. But you have another group that says, no, we'll do things the old way, which means that we want to do something, we take about 2 or 3 weeks to understand and learn from it, then we just create a product, but our market is a small market. You will have two groups of people, one that are moving so much faster, and the other that are way behind. Actually, both of them want to do the same thing.
They may have the same knowledge.
Of course, and they have the same drive, the same passion to get it done. But we need to tell them that you cannot see this divide. I don't want to have a country in which there's one group of people that are working very fast and building themselves using technology, and the other that is left behind. So we need to start thinking about how it is we can create awareness, and how it is we can convince people to partake and to feel the real impact of technology in what it is they can do. And I believe we can. But for me to get this done, I have to create the structure. So I have to build a ministry first. And then now I have to start. And we are going to do that. I have so many people that have come to see me, and people from the music industry, for example, Indian community, I mean, we are so creative. Yeah. And I got so many friends, they have come to see me and they said, look, sir, what are we going to do next? I said, okay, it's going to be done. And now they form part of, my office, telling me, okay, this is what needs to be done. Music platforms, how we can, those days you would sit down and you take you months and years just to come up with a script. Yeah. Today you just type, the script comes. You don't even have to produce the movie, you type, the movie is produced. Yeah. What next? You will have metaverse where you don't even have to have actors. People are there already, So we need to tell people that, yes, in the past we used to do things this way, and we built this incredible, society, but now we need to empower them to move forward,
Do you see any challenges at the moment to convince the public on adopting?
Yes, but it's not in a bad way. Okay. I think everyone's, you'll be reluctant, Somebody comes and says, this is something that, you're like, are you sure or not? I'm already doing business, I'm already successful. Why should I change? I don't need to change, right? But if you can show them that if you change, you will do so much better. That's what I call the 10x factor. I always speak about the 10x factor. I say, look, if you do it this way, you're going to see your business improve by 10 times, 10x. Have that in mind. Increase productivity, reduce costs, ultimately save a lot of time. Once you can do that and you can convince them that, look, it is secure, some risk, but secure, right? They come on board.
Well, maybe what is your main KPI for your ministry in 2025?
Well, that's a question that everybody asks me. The problem is the KPIs keep changing because every day there's something new that turns up. But ultimately, the KPI for this year was to build a structure. The next year's KPI is to expand on it and to make sure that we reach everyone. To say to them that if they digitalize and change the way they do things, they will empower themselves, and ultimately, as I said earlier, you succeed, we succeed, everyone succeeds together. And that's what I want to see. And I'm sure that we will be able to achieve it.
Oibi, it has been a pleasure to have you with us today, and wish you all the best. Meet you up again. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for speaking to me. and yeah, let us all succeed together. As I said in my speech that day in the launch of the NAIO, the future is now.
Thank you, Abi.
Nandini, thank you very much. Thank you.